KUSI Contributor and AM 760 radio host, Mr. Mark Larson.
Oh, thank you very much. And I actually knew Reagan, and I interviewed Gorbachev once, so this all comes right back.
Okay, well, that was the first question I had for you. As you're looking at that footage, 30 years ago, what's your takeaway?
It was a risky speech. Pretty much everybody inside didn't like it. They kept taking out the tear down this wall part, thought it was just too provocative. Reagan said, no, I'd like to do that. When he was over there in '78, the first time he was there, he looked at it and said to Peter Hannaford, one of his advisors, his aides, he said, this thing's got to come down. So that wasn't something new. The speech written by Peter Robinson was, and Robinson says, hey, I wrote the speech as a 30-year-old, but Reagan made it his. It was a risky deal to step up there and do that. One of the things that really motivated him to do that was he knew he was over there by Eastern Europe, and Moscow was probably within listening distance, and a lot of people who were on the other side of what was then known as the Iron Curtain would actually hear the message. So that's why that was an important thing to say, tear down this wall. Then you fast forward to 30 years ago tomorrow, the wall comes down. Reagan, Gorbachev, Margaret Thatcher, Pope John Paul II, Lech Walesa, there were all these different freedom movements. So it wasn't as Obama said in 2009 or 2008 when he was campaigning over there, a wall came down. It didn't just crumble. It was by design. And the Soviets also, some of that was inside.
And it also, as Logan just said, was the fall of communism. So this was way more than a wall. What other impacts did it have?
Well, if you go over there, and I've been there to see this, you meet families of various generations who will have pictures of Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. But Reagan is an icon in many ways in some of these homes because that was how things began to change. He was bold enough to say that. Unfortunately now, 30 years later, we have a generation and a half now not being taught this. There was sensitivity even putting Reagan's statue over there, so it goes into the embassy. There's previous presidents who might not in today's environment even want to do that. So that's significant. Obama didn't go to the 20th anniversary. He sent a video. It was a thing. It got in the way, and the lesson of that is that Reagan and Gorbachev would go toe to toe. He told them yet, no, at Reykjavik. It wasn't the end of the world. They got things done. Actually, he and Gorbachev became friends. So there's a lot of lessons in that. But see, now you go over there to where that Brandenburg Gate is, and a lot of the younger generation go there now and they go, oh, right over there is the hotel where Michael Jackson held the baby over the...
Goodness.
They know that.
Wow. But
they don't know the significance of this. So that's the lesson.
Oh, let me ask you this. What if that wall had not come down? Where would we be today?
You would have what they saw when, in fact, Peter Robinson tells a story about going up there on top of right by the Brandenburg Gate, looking from the colorful side of West Berlin into East Berlin, and it was like all the color was drained. Like you have on your iPhone, you go to just black and white, it drains out. It was that stark. The people were stuck there. Imagine 1961 when the Soviets decided we're going to build 27 miles of this wall. They do it pretty much overnight. If you had your daughter going to sleep over at a friend's house across town, daughter doesn't return until 1989, 30 years ago tomorrow. That's pretty amazing. And 120-some lost their lives trying to get to freedom. Although Mike Reagan, who's a friend of mine, was over there a couple of years ago. He's over there a lot. And he asked the student, like today's college student, what do you think, why was the wall here? He said it was the Americans trying to keep people in.
Oh, my goodness.
That's how...
Hopefully then people will take this anniversary as a time to revisit the facts and talk about this. Are you going to do the Reagan impression you can do so well for us?
Well, I don't think I can. Well, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Excellent.
There I go again.
Thank you, Mark, so much. We love having you.
I will give some speeches on the curb when I'm done. You talk about a president. That was a president.
The great communicator, and yet he spoke the fewest amount of times. Very interesting. Thank you.